to share this around. Waiting for it is now recording. Thank you. So thank you all very much for joining us this evening. We do have online Narelle and also Jess, obviously as part building out the membership team, and myself. Kirsty, for those who I may not have met yet, there was a lot of familiar names throughout this list, so I think most people know of me at least, even if they may not have seen me online. Just to kick off, a bit of housekeeping, please keep yourself on mute. Please raise your hand if you have any questions. Please don't hesitate. There is a lot of information to get through for this evening, so if you do have a question, please raise it at the time. And if I can't answer it right now, we will take note of them and continue to build this FAQ sheet that we actually have running currently on the website. So the plan for this evening is I'm going to take you step by step in our test version that Swimming WA have access to. Sorry, there's children in the background and my partner's about to just come in. It's a bit chaos. I did actually wonder if I should have done this at home or gone to my mum's house. We're working through today why the EOI process for coming onto Swim Central for those who may be not aware of. We have a workshop weekend coming up to pop in your diaries, as well as how you're going to set up your club information within the portal, how to set up products, and a little bit into the document information. All right, so I will get Narelle to pop into the chat just quickly the link for the expression of interest. So I've had, off the top of my head, 43 clubs who have filled this out. The reason why the EOI process is in place is that we can make sure that you actually have, your club has an ABN, because that's probably the most important piece with setting this up, is that you need an ABN because it will take an online payment through Stripe. Which is the payment processing platform that Swim Central utilises. I will probably also preface, this is a great opportunity for clubs that do not have a generic contact addressed for their president, for their general club information. This is a great opportunity to take the time to transition into that space. We are looking at building out, and I've had some feedback from many presidents, particularly over the president forums, that we aren't recording anymore. Is this a space that we could maybe set up a cloud, Google Drive, access only to club presidents or someone within the club? And then we could potentially put up resources, whether that is coach contracts, that type of thing, recordings specifically around president information, where you can have open discussions and forums without having to have any worries, because some have raised around feedback from general public or their members that they don't necessarily always feel comfortable speaking out in these forums and really questioning things, or may not be questioning enough is probably the other one. Their members are saying is, why haven't you raised this? You're meant to be a voice for our club. So we wanted to ensure that you have that ability to feel comfortable whilst being in a president's forum to talk as you need. The next one is, and Narelle will pop it in the chat again, is we actually have a workshop weekend where Amy and Mara, who, for those who came along to the first Swim Central introduction, were from Swimming Australia. They make up the key Swim Central team. So if you have ever emailed support, it goes to both of them. And this weekend we'll be running across the 17th and 18th. We do have a limit of spots. I have the ability to facilitate 40 clubs across the Saturday and the Sunday, so 40 clubs combined, 20 each day, with 2 representatives. So we'll be running 2 different workshop rooms, one with one SWA staff member in both rooms and a Swim Central staff member in both rooms, to run a really bespoke, any nuances to your club that are occurring. The expectation is the Metro clubs will attend this weekend. For those who are regional and remote and unable to obviously come up for that weekend or don't wish to come up, please fill out the form. You will have the opportunity to pop in there a date and a time that may work for you. And between myself, Narelle and Jess, we will set up a time to work one-on-one with yourself and your committee to go through that same workshop information just in a shorter period of time. We're estimating it will take about 90 minutes per club on that real one-to-one piece. Just want to, I've got two people talking in my headphones. 2 seconds. Sorry about that. We use dual headphones in this household, and my partner's currently also on a call, so that's not working very well. Chaos currently. Going back to the workshop, so we will be running a workshop weekend. It will be for a 9 o'clock start, 8:45 registrations through to about 3:30, 4 o'clock. We will pop on a light lunch and some tea and coffee throughout the day. And it will be for 2 representatives from your club to be able to go along to that. No one's registered at the moment. This is being, I guess, communicated to everyone now. So it is, I will keep saying I do have limited spots. So if you do want to get in, I suggest getting in quickly, particularly if you want the Saturday or the Sunday as a particular day. Right, over to the nitty gritty around the club information portal. So for those clubs who have already submitted their expressions of interest, you will have access and you will see a little bit into Swim Central, and I'll give you some details of how to go in to the system, as well as what to expect. So once you pop into the system, this is essentially, I'll go back a step. This is my profile within the Swim Central test environment. Normally this administrator piece is not here. This is where I link you to the club and assign the club to you. And this was what any club will do as you change president, as you change secretary, anything like that will happen. You will assign a club with that person for administration access. I am going to pick on Guildford Kalamunda, particularly this evening. Sorry, Trevor, if you are online. So around the club information, there's a couple of key pieces in here that you really need to pay, or that will become important, and you'll start to realise what they are. This notifications panel, which will provide you what is happening in, I guess, within your club. For us as a state level, it shows quite a bit of detail. So a descendant is someone who affiliates to us. And for us at the moment, that's Guildford Kalamunda, that they have submitted a meet and it's unapproved currently. The other one is around documentation as well. So you will have notifications that will pop up whether someone's working with Children Check has expired, whether their coaching accreditations have expired. This is where that information will pop up for you as your club, as your members within your club have anything that occurs. Just going to jump into Guildford now to show you from a club entity piece. So jumping online into Guildford Kalamunda, you'll be able to see at the top of your panel how many active members you have at the top here, into your live events as you come through. And this is your account balance, which will be paid out to you as you decide. So you will have the ability to decide how often you would like Stripe to pay out to your account, to your bank account. That can be weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. Going in here, you have the ability for a quick status check. So whether that's your members as they come through, and as you can see here, this new comes up at the top as someone who's a new member into it and have recently purchased. See products, and you can also see events that are listed as a quick check. These products are also available on the side navigation panel. The first and most important thing coming into here as your first point of call is setting up your club positions and assigning those. I've set up these a little bit already. So expectation is probably the biggest noting. Every person who you assign into your club has the same access. There is not levels of access similar to what we've had with MSR. A president, a secretary, a treasurer, vice president, and head coach all have the ability to see the same thing. Within here, you have the ability to upload your logo, and we highly recommend uploading your logo. It tells you 100 by 100 pixel, and you can load that in. Swimming Australia is looking to do some pretty funky things with state logos at a national level, so in the shapes of WA, and fill it out so they actually have a map of all the clubs across Australia. In here, essentially, if you wanted to add a position, so I'm going to add on the club registrar, your position type, club administrator, and you can see there's obviously a couple of other options in here as well. So a club administrator, and type in registrar, and this is where the position email starts to become really important. So you're starting to select in here, instead of it being someone's personal email address, which is Trevor's here, you would put your generic club email address, and this will stay with this position no matter what. Clicking on next and then saving that one. And then if you're going to assign someone, it's following through on add, and you search their name, so Kirsty Reid. And you're clicking on that one, just assigning it, and it'll go through on next, and it's letting you know this will have access and privilege to any functions that Kalamunda districts have. You have the ability to put an end date. So if you have someone who's only in a temporary role, some committees, depending on your constitutions, roll over every year. So you can actually put a submitted end date in there as well. Again, with a position email, if you want to have it in there again, otherwise it does actually stay with the same assigned position, and saving that one. These are the 5 key committee positions. You can obviously have your meet manager in here as well. You can have your, we highly recommend your head coaches are popped into here as well, so that we have access to be able to email them directly. If you needed to ever look at what the past history was, you're a brand new president, or a position's been vacant for a while, or there's a huge turnover through your club, you should be able to see also who's been inactive within these positions. To remove someone, it's as simple as going into the little plus button on the side to edit it, and I'm going to change the date just to yesterday. Save. Oh, and that end date must be before. Sorry. End date for today. It had let me do this earlier today. Essentially, you need to change your end date to obviously the date that's before this one, as I've set it up just today. When I had removed Amy, who is one of the administrators within Swim Central, I just put her end date for today, and she popped on out. So maybe if I do today, nope. I would have to do tomorrow, and I'd be coming out of there from there. The next one from here is going into your club details, which is the next, I guess, the important piece when it comes to any information that are coming through here. All of these sections are editable through the drop down. Your primary venue, your website, contact details, please double check this. We are populating it as much as we can with this information we do receive, but we have the potential to get this wrong. So please do, double check your mailing addresses, your ABNs, your contact numbers as well as your website. Coming into the next one, which is around your finance, so your banking details, direct debits, and account contact person. Your affiliate.
Kirsty, sorry, just to go back to position details, just had a question from Tony asking about extra positions, if they can add extra positions in there if they have vice presidents.
Yep, so vice president is easily enough. So it's the same thing, going to a club administrator and just type in vice president if that's what you is the position is, and whatever the position email is associated with that, if it's generic, and you just go through and you can save that one. So I already have a vice president in there as an example. It's just keeping in mind that who you do put in here, Tony, is they will have the same amount of access regardless of who they are. So looking at keeping it to your executive, not just your social media, would they necessarily need to have access at the back end of Swim Central, or something for the clubs to take into consideration. Before I move on, is there any other questions on the positions? I can't actually see the chat anymore, Narelle.
There's another one from Denise. She was just asking about people like the uniform officer, but I think you just answered that with keeping it to your committee.
Yeah. Again, it comes down to what level of you feel comfortable with as a committee to have who is sitting in these roles, really, because they do have access to absolutely everything. Your club details in here, back into where I was talking about. So we got down to affiliations. In here, this is something that we will administer for you into Swim Central this year, and we'll have another going into next year's affiliation season. We will set this up and we'll talk to you about how you would do it. Essentially, I've already purchased the Western Australia affiliation for Guildford Kalamunda in this test environment. And essentially, it's just going through affiliate and it will pop up into WA here. The problem we have at the moment, and we are working with Swim Central to fix or at least create the option, is which doesn't happen often, you need a credit card to be able to purchase this affiliation. There's no direct debit option at the moment. So we're working with them on looking at how this would build out to include a direct debit, particularly for the majority of swimming clubs don't have club credit cards unless you're turning over huge amounts of money. So for the little guys, a direct debit option would be much better. So going through your club details, down to your venue. This is again a really important one of ensuring that your venue here is correct, that your primary venue, and if you do have a secondary venue like Guildford Kalamunda do using Guildford Grammar, you have that in here. This venue link is a postcode search, and it should pop up in here because we have popped all of the venues through to Swim Central. If it's not here, it has a little prompt with you on the site for you on the side around help of when to contact with support, or you can contact myself, Narelle, or Jess. The next one is the ability to have your own terms and conditions. So Swimming WA have a set of terms and conditions. Swimming Australia have their own set of terms and conditions. And now here is where you will set your terms and conditions for your club. Must be kind to each other as an example. This is something that as a member, when you purchase a membership, it will pop up there for you as, do you accept the terms and conditions? And they will say yes or no, and that's where they will view them at the same time. That's it on, I guess, setting up your club details in here. So that is again through your admin home and through your club information on the side. Was there anything people wanted to ask questions on? Otherwise, I'm going to go into the documents and where you would store your constitution and other type of information regarding that club documentation.
There's no questions in the chat, Kirsty.
Cool. If I am moving too fast, please let me know. Multiple terms and conditions that they have to accept each one. What do you mean by that, Tony?
So the biggest thing is a bit like when you download an app, it's 50,000 pages long, and they just go to the very bottom and say yes, when they don't realise they haven't really read what they've actually supposed to be signing up for.
I will say
only a couple of few bullet point ones, that's all.
Yeah, so it is all in one acceptance. I did actually go through today and check, because I'm the same as you just scroll pages and pages and you just click accept. Swimming WAs and Swimming Australias are not long at all. So it's as long as what it's going to be, whether depending on what the club pop in there. Ours reference and have links to the documentation, particularly when you're talking about the National Integrity Framework, which is what ours stipulates, and going from there. So it is in one set of terms and conditions. I do get what you mean, but I think that will be working through as a club to ensure that it's succinct and it's quite concise what you're asking people to, I guess, accept as being a member. Once set up as an administrator for the primary account holder, will dependents? No, the dependents don't have access. It sits with the adult of the file. Also have access to everything. How do they access their own info? What do you mean by their own info? Do you mean in relation to the children?
Yeah, I set mine up today and added a family group and a dependent for my daughter, and it's the same login. So
yep.
Yeah, if I become an administrator, I don't want them, having access to that sort of stuff.
I guess it comes down to how old are the kids as well. They can set up their own, but it will probably not be very happy with, because you do need a parent member attached. You should be able to, when you're pulling up their account, to have an administrator on the side. Well, I haven't actually connected yourself, I don't think.
No, not yet. But yeah, I don't think anyone really wants all the financial stuff and that for kids to be able to see that sort of stuff, for sure.
Yeah. I can double check that and go back to the Swim Central team. That's definitely, I guess, a question that I hadn't considered, of going, if kids are wanting to, you're talking 15, 16-year-olds who are wanting to check where they are and what their times are. Yeah, whether they have that. I do believe you can filter through each, though, depending on who you are, and that administrator is not there, is my understanding, but I can double check with the team.
I was just thinking, Kirsty, just from the little bit of stuff that I've done on it, there might be a 4-digit code that you have to put in, and that's what kind of separates the different profiles that's on the same thing. So that might be an option.
I know they have a 4-digit code to purchase things if you're in a child piece, but I don't know about the administrator. So that's, I think you might be right. Maybe that's where the determination of whether who's looking at it will be, is mum or dad, or whether it's the child.
Yep.
There's definitely, sorry, I've used it over East. So there's definitely that 4-digit code, but I can't recall if it's before you go into administration. So if it isn't before that, it would be a useful place to put a code field so that your kids can have access, but then to go into administration, you then could have a specific code for that. Yep.
And that's all fair feedback. Like I said, I'll happily take it on board and see what may probably already exist, and it is there. Just need to double check. So the other one that would be of importance to notice, and I'm going to pull up a club that I know has this warning in here. If you happen to see this entity account warning pop up when you sign in for whatever reason, or something's happened, this could be at the first time of when you're setting up your club, to also when your treasurer leaves, or whoever your contact is for your Stripe account in Swim Central. This is all around your business entity details, and that your payments will not be completed because something's an issue. That could be the photo ID that is submitted does not match the ID that is being submitted into Swim Central. So birth dates, names are different to the photo ID. So that's something to take into account and be just conscious of on that piece of information. So the next piece into this is around your documents. You do have the ability to see your members' documents. So who has what around here, around safe sports certificates, first aid, coaching IDs, you're working with children checks, and anything else you may need. Some states use this for, I know South Australia use this because they require a birth certificate for their children to race at certain levels, and this is where this will all sit, and it sits within your documentation, but your entity that you're affiliated to can also see it, so we can verify it. You also have a club library in here, so that, as I said earlier, that the purchase invoice for the affiliation for Guildford is in here as well. So this is, it will come up. I hope everyone can see this. It will come up as a Swim Central online product in here and who's purchased it and what the administrator entities are. So you do have a copy of those records, and it's obviously year on year for that one. In here, I have submitted a bylaws document. So under bylaws, there's the Swimming WA membership policy. When you do submit these documents, we are required to verify them, but essentially they live in here. To upload a document, you can pre-fill, so you can have a keyword to be able to work out what you're doing. Your document type, there's all sorts in here. So you've got your annual general meeting minutes, enrolment forms, coach accreditations, governance, so you can put more documentation in there around your something else in here, your vouchers as well. So as you receive vouchers, you have the ability, so your kids sport vouchers, you have the ability to keep a log of them within Swim Central and who has actioned them. So going through, popping a voucher in, it is just around clicking these through. Kids Sport, you upload your voucher and your expiry date, visible to all Pinnacles or hide from members. So you do have the ability to click these. We are recommending, if you've got governance-based documents that your members would like to have, you think your members should have access to, we suggest unclicking your hide from members. And visible to all Pinnacles means that Swimming WA and Swimming Australia can see them. From here, I will double check if anyone has any other questions around the documentation library and I guess any communications in that sense.
Sorry, Tony asked a question about club members from current MSR data. He'd actually preempted my speech at the end because we're in the process of migrating data at the moment, and I'll talk about that after Kirsty's finished.
Thank you, Donna. PIN code is asked before going into administration. We just need to be able to have a different PIN to use for your personal profile in Swim Central. Thank you for confirming that. Yes, you can upload your certificate of currency under documents. That would be a wonderful opportunity to use that.
Kate was also asking about deleting a position, which I think you went over quickly. I'm assuming she's talking about a position on the committee.
Do you mean delete a position, Kate, or not assigned, remove someone who's assigned?
Delete a position or even remove someone from that position.
So it's the same opportunity through end date. End date, you won't delete it because it is a historical data piece, and Swim Central, when we spoke about this with them particularly, they felt it was really important to understand the history behind clubs and what has happened. So whether that person has sat in that role and they're no longer sitting in that role, or that role now becomes redundant, you change their end date.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Because you could have two vice presidents go to one vice president.
Yep. So the next one is, I guess, the really nitty-gritty one, and what we're all here for is around the membership products piece. So when we're on the products dashboard, it's important to understand that when we're talking about products, there's certain, there's either a membership product or there is membership product or there's other. So other is everything else that is not essentially a Swimming WA, Swimming Australia membership component. If you're looking at training fees, if you're looking for merchandise, it's all under other. And then through going into membership, you have to, these are going to be what you'll see here is Swimming WA's standard and be part of the affiliation booklet coming out on the 1st of June, which will be annual, seasonal, participation, and I guess the stock standard memberships you will normally see within a Swimming WA piece, all listed down here and what you're going to align to. So for today, we're going to go for test annual. I've set price component of $100. These are not our fees for the next year, just putting it out there. This is just purely me popping things in. Clicking into next. So for Guildford Kalamunda, we're going to go full competitive GK, new or something along those lines. You can shorten the name if necessary. You are required to pop a description in. A few spaces, if you don't want to pop anything in there, you can, it like lets you override it. Otherwise, I do recommend actually popping something in there so people know what they're purchasing. So full membership for over 9. We leave what is this product replacing. This is something we'll go into next year. And then here are your requirements. So documents issued on purchase. If you want as a club that every person who signs up to your purchase this annual membership, that they are to get a governance-based document, whether that is, or anyone who signs up, you will set this up for each of them. So whether it's bylaw and you upload your file and you add it on, you can do that. And it will appear in that person's individual document section on their personal profile. Requirements need to purchase are in line with your either a documentation or an accreditation. So if it is an accreditation, generally, if you're looking for those who have, again, this is based off, I guess, nationally. So certain things are very bespoke to those areas. First aid certificates, inspector of turns for accreditations and your coaching, when your documentation could be a working with children check.
Kirsty, Sarah's just brought up a point. Will documents be emailed to members when they sign up? They don't, do they? They just sit within their library to be able to be read.
And it will be part of the process of education when we are talking about more training for the general everyone outside of club administrators. We wanted to educate, obviously, yourselves how to use the platform first. Come September, the process around how to renew your membership and where to find this documentation. Heading back into here, so your available dates and your valid dates are two different things. So if you actually want this to only be available because it's a brand new product or it's a product only for the month of May or even June, you set it up for, it will be available from the 1st of June to the end of June. And then the valid dates, it could be from the 1st of June, but it actually gives them all the way till the end of September. As a validation for how that is. You can set your age groups in here. Component only is that it is purchased as part of a bundle, which is for a club you turn off, and hide from the requirement list is this will not be presented into the product requirements at the top. So clicking into next, you do need to know your price excluding GST and your fee. So if your club is charging $100 excluding GST, and then any other additional fees will be added onto the side, and you can see on the other panel how this actually looks. So competitive WA only membership for Swimming Australia, currently $0 in here. Western Australia is taking $100 and Guildford Kalamunda is taking $113 essentially. So your estimated fee, there is a processing fee within Swim Central of 3%. And then their total is the $213.30, which includes GST and their processing fees. If you wanted to have a discount for this membership, so Swimming WA as an example, we'll set up the WA competitive only membership, and we have our 1st of April discount. You can either do a discount as a percentage or you can do a discount as a dollar value of the start and finish dates there as well.
Sorry, Kirsty. Kate just had a question about setting up, including the SWA component. They don't actually put the SWA component in their price. It will automatically put it in there.
Yep.
As long as they link to it.
Yep. And that's the thing. You have to link to a SWA component first. If any clubs have a membership that is outside of Swimming WA's memberships, please come and have a chat to Narelle and I. And we can see what we can do and come up with something a bit more bespoke for you. And because I do know from a Swimming Australia perspective, some of the states have this issue and they put a $0 membership price for for clubs to utilise. It will only be potentially available or seen for your club. So the really important piece around this coming into the new season, particularly for those who are not or want to venture on this journey on their own come the 1st of June and want to set up all of their membership fees, please save as a draft. You cannot, I repeat this, you cannot edit these once they are created. When you do click on next and then you go to publish on the store, it will give you a warning that you will not be able to edit the details after it has been published. I have asked the question a fair few times of Swimming Australia as to why. And it is around, again, financing and bookkeeping, so that someone who has purchased that membership sits within the system and further along the line around that. So they can't be changed after the date. If you are wanting to venture on your own, please save the draft. We will jump on in, double check everything is set up right, and then we are happy to take on I have to admit, it's pretty confronting for Narelle and I have to set up all of these components coming into the new year, and that we will also be saving as draft and getting Swimming Australia to look over ours before we actually publish them. So going through and essentially clicking publish, once you are comfortable, if you want to do that. We're in tests, it does take a little bit. And you'll be able to see here your information. So as I said, you will not be able to edit any of these constraints around this. However, you do have the ability to add a documentation accreditation as you need. So your components, and if you wanted to add a discount, you still can add a discount afterwards, which is fine, and your availability. So if you don't want this product actually showing in your store, you remove it as showing catalogue and effectively press save, and this product will no longer show in the membership store for Guildford Kalamunda.
Sorry, Kirsty, there was one question from Sarah. Is it based on age or do we set up the link manually? I'm just not sure what you were referring to, Sarah, on that one.
Our membership, we will put that in the descriptor. So as part of the affiliation booklet, it will tell you what ages can be utilised within which. So a junior dolphin is 5 to 8 year olds, for an example. That will have 5 to 8 year olds in there. So our parameters will filter down. That's why Swimming Australia's is 0 to 150, because it filters down automatically unless it's changed. There's a couple of other questions. I think a handy training function would be able to. Kate's asking, do we have to set up as 1 of June, or can we set up close to the end of the Swimming WA swimming year? You can wait until after the workshop. The idea is through the workshop, by the time you leave, your membership components are set up. So if you are a regional club, we will set them up with you online and take you through the process. But again, through that workshop in June, this is the idea. I do know some clubs will, Tony is, I'm going to pick on you, Tony, given that you are sitting in there with Masters as well, and you've had access to Swim Central, and some of our East Coast guys who are taking on the job of setting up Swim Central for their club, may be really happy to run through this and just venture forward. But like I said, if you please save as drafts so we can double check them. Dates for the workshop are the 17th and 18th of June.
There was another question there saying, when we set up our membership classes, do we select the relevant SWA membership and then add the club fees on top? That's correct. It's like MSR, exactly the same way we did it. We have the SWA component, including the Swimming Australia component, and then you add your club fees to that.
And just to give you a quick preview on what it actually looks like for a member. Swim Central is not normally this slow. When you're sitting in test, it does take a little bit longer. I need someone who's not. So I'm going to go into George. You will have, and we'll go into this in a lot more detail during the workshops, but you have the ability to impersonate an entity, a member who has an affiliation with your club. So I'm going to pop into George's account here. And you'll head into the store as mum or dad, look at your memberships, type in Guildford, and then who am I selecting this product for? It's for George. And you'll see this full competitive membership is here, being able to be added. So you add to the cart and then essentially you would check out. This is where your terms and conditions will also show up. And as I said to you, Tony, at the start, this is ours. It must be fun with it. It's meant to be so fun. So essentially, this is Swimming Australia's, this is Swimming WA's, and then the bottom entity is what I've popped into Guildford's now. Pop in their credit card details and buy now. At the end of that, what you would find for someone in here afterwards would be their documents. I've now lost. Because it's a child member, they can't see them. I had found it earlier today, unfortunately. But essentially that's what a member would see, whether it's merchandise, if there was anything set up as well for their clubs. Just ending the impersonation, so logging back in. As you do it, it takes you around the long way to be able to come back to where we were. Some important pieces of information to note around membership components is that what we've learned from a Swimming WA perspective at the moment is that essentially what we're learning with the migration of of individuals through is that if you actually have a if you go, oh, we don't charge for our coaches at a club level, we don't charge for our TOs at a club level, you'd still need to make up a $0 club component there so that people can sign up and still become a member of Swimming WA, even though your club component's $0. So if you don't charge your junior dolphins anything as a member, that's fine. But that do need to come through Swim Central, even if it's a $0 membership from a club component. The additional piece will be around, and I know this is something that will be a change for some clubs. A lot of clubs actually pay for their coaches' memberships to Swimming WA, that if you are one of those clubs, the individual will need to, if you have a club credit card, for instance, giving them the club credit card, having them to sign up through that, or you will have to issue a refund outside of the system. A refund, pro bono, honorarium, I'm not sure how clubs want to handle it, but essentially that will need to be paid. We do not have the ability to, and it has created a huge amount of headaches this season for outstanding payment lists, where someone, an administrator, is trying to do the right thing, the registrar is doing the right thing, but then that individual hasn't actually paid any of their components to Swimming WA and then essentially Swimming Australia as well. That within Swim Central, that's not the ability to, not able to do that. It is payment at the time of sign up. Yes, Tony, reimbursement. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is the word I was not recalling. Will parents still require membership, and are children's memberships linked? So yes, parents will still require membership. There is still a mandatory parent membership component within Swimming WA and within Swim Central, and the children's membership would be linked at the same time. So you essentially be paying for all of it at one go once you've added it to your cart. There will be prompts within Swim Central that if a parent has bought their child's membership, goes through the processes and has forgotten to attach themselves as a parent member, that it will prompt them that they need to go back and purchase something. There are exemptions to that rule. If you have a technical official, club committee member, a coach membership, any of those type of memberships will provide you with an exemption to holding a parent membership. I will open it up kind of. That's the end essentially of where I was going to show everyone. It is a lot of information to take on board. The workshops are going to be your best bet to really get that one-on-one help to be able to set up these products. And I'm happy to work through everyone come the 17th, 18th, and for regional guys, set them up and have a conversation as you go through this. Were there any other questions specifically or things you were hoping to see at this level, at this stage? Essentially, this is what you need to start set up within your club. If not, Narelle, I'll hand over to you to inform everyone where we're at with the migration.
There's just another quick question. Is there workshop 6? The next workshop will be the weekend workshop, and then we're working after that to see where we need to go.
And Denise, the logins, you need to fill out the expression of interest first, so I know who is going to be the login. Essentially, come the 1st of June, it will be a bit of not free for all, but essentially it will be the ability for everyone to sign up, your administrators who are going to be coming in there after that date. I've had it limited to 1 administrator per club at the moment while we work through and got majority in, and we're basically there. And once we're setting up membership components, clubs need more assistance than just 1 person. In regards to multiclass, that's something we're working with and we're having discussions with, because we're not the only state in relation to their multi-class changes that are raising this. It is something that we're talking with and probably pushing quite hard at a state level to have it included in Tony, because it's not currently in there, and it is creating issues even with the master list to see what's changed when it has changed as well.
No more questions? No. I guess I just wanted to keep everyone updated. So if your members are asking, and just so that you're aware what we're doing on the back end. So over the last year, we've been working with Mara and Amy, who you'll meet, who'll be over for the weekend from Swim Central. So they've been helping us look at our data. We only realise that there's problems with the data when you go to move to another platform and you find all the problems that are in there. We've been working with them over the last couple of weeks. We've taken sample data into the test data platform to see how it all integrates. We've come across quite a few issues with data, and you all know as registrars, doubling up of data where people have changed their date of birth. They've got the same email address in 2 different accounts. So as we find these, we're trying to fix them up. So if you come across any, if you let me know, I'll be sending emails out to some of the registrars over the next couple of the weeks, trying to fix up some of this data. The more we can fix up before we roll it over for our final sprint, we can have less errors, I should say, at the other end when people try and log in. So there's duplicate accounts with wrong dates of birth, no email addresses, and also families that aren't linked properly. So some children, they do have a parent membership, but they're not actually linked to that parent. So we're just sort of finding all of those details out. So if you see anything that's a bit strange, let me know. Just send me an email and I can have a look at it. I know you're all pretty good identifying things and sending them through to me, so that's wonderful. Just be aware that we don't want members to go in at this stage and set up accounts in Swim Central, because that will also cause a double up from our end. So we're going to export all the data, all the membership data in MSR and take it over to Swim Central. We don't want members going into Swim Central setting up their accounts, because that will double the amount of duplicates we have to go through. So for everyone who's already have an account in Swim Central, so that's all of those people who've probably swum at nationals, had to have an account for some reason. Some people are also on mailing lists through Swimming Australia, so they're doubling up our accounts as well. If we can keep the amount of people that we're putting through Swim Central, so just the committee members currently who need to sign up to be able to attach, everyone else, if you can say to them, hold off until we send you the emails. So we will be sending out emails to members on how to log in once all the data has been migrated across. And that's the reason for needing unique email addresses for the parents, is that they will get an email on how to log into Swim Central. So probably the most important message is to put out to members is we are working on it from the back end to make it as easy as possible. So please don't log in yet. We have a lot of emails coming through going, I can't access the club. That's because your club's not set up in there yet. Go back to My Swim. They're trying to purchase products. They're trying to do all sorts of things through there. So if we can just get the message out to clubs that we're working on it from this end, and we'll let them know when they can go in. I think that's probably about all from me.
The final one, Narelle, was probably to let everyone know for an events side of things, for any competitions, we will be seeing out all of short course, so right up until the Kimberley Open within MSR, that the first meet that will be going into Swim Central, and I'm still working out with Ben what his process will be, and we will share that with you around those meets and entries and everything like that, will be the long course season opener in October. Will be the first competition in Swim Central to be able to register for. Number of Masters members who are Swim Central would be in us to. We don't know who those names are. We have asked for a more detailed list. So we do have of the duplicates. We have asked for why, what's the issue with that import, and we can get back to you, Tony, once we've got that, okay, I guess, and we can work out who it is and why.
Yeah. Yep, the one on the 14th of October will be in Swim Central. That's correct, because they will all need to be new members in the Swim Central system in order to sign up.
So anything from 1st of October over, essentially, will be Swim Central.
It's a good way to get everyone into Swim Central. It's just like the membership drives that we have currently. So all of those that had early dates in MSR all had to sign up their new members. So it's exactly the same process that we've been using.
Was there anything else? Was there any concerns that people have with moving across that we could help alleviate?
Oh, sorry, Kirsty, the only thing I didn't talk about was importing times. We've had lots of questions about will my times be going across to Swim Central? So what we're also working on is taking across the last 12 months of data to start with. So that's everything from the last short course and long course season. When you enter, it has to be within the last 12 months, the results anyway. So that will get them into the next season comfortably. We're doing all that data this end so that as soon as we can roll over, that will all be there. It's actually a lengthy process. It's not just taking times and putting them in. Each event has to be set up and then all the times linked to the event in Swim Central. So it's quite a lengthy process, as you can imagine, all the events. That's not just swimming WA events, but that's all of the regional and club events that are in My Swim that have to go over. So we're doing the last 12 months at the moment. Once we go over to Swim Central, the next year we'll be working through the historical data, but for the first, when we go over, there'll be at least that last 12 months in there so everyone can use current times to enter.
Sarah, I think it was asked last time when we had the introduction to Swim Central as well that club records weren't going to go across. It's information that I'm not 100% sure is in MSR accurately either, but I'm not 100% sure on that. 1st of September, Tony, we're opening it. It will always be from now on while Norah and I are here anyway. 1st of September.
Yep.
That's a question for Chris.
Yeah. MSR won't be accessible for members as in the membership database. They won't be able to go in and do a membership exactly what they do currently in MSR from the 1st of September. They will have to go over to Swim Central and all their information will be captured in there.
Narelle, I might get you to answer because I have a very cranky baby in the background.
Oh, that's okay. As far as club records and things like that, we can take it on notice and speak to Chris. We're not exactly sure what clubs are putting up in My Swim results as far as club records and everything like that. Every club uses My Swim differently. So some clubs use it for their records, some don't. We can have a chat to Chris and see what we can do with those club records and what happens to all of that information and get back to you and let you all know. As I say, not every club uses it the same way. So it may be a bespoke thing that we need to have each club chat to him on what they're doing and how they want to use it. Because there's a lot of different information that's held in My Swim. It's not necessarily Swimming WA information, it is more what clubs are using it for too. A lot of clubs use him externally for other things as well. So those agreements are between you as the club and him. So some of these things need to work out individually and some of them we can look at, but it's definitely a question I can ask him. There's a question, 1 year times are going across, will PBs be lost? Not in the short term, they'll have enough PBs to enter because your PBs have to be within the last 12 months when you enter Swimming WA races. So the PBs that are current will all go across. The historical data will go across slowly. As I say, it's a process of creating events and things like that. So we have to go back. So at this stage, it's just the last year, and then we'll work on the rest after we get it across.
By the time we're getting to Open Nationals to be able to enter, we will have the next lot through. So it needs to be a phased approach with the priority being the last 12 months. And then from there, we'll do another 12 months after that. And then we'll need to work out how far back we will go within Swim Central. We'll keep the information within as part of hard drives and everything here at Swimming WA and come to some sort of archiving piece that we can do with Swimming Australia moving forward. But it's, as Tony's popped in there, Swim Central has, My Swim Results has times going back to 1996. So it's a lot of, I have times in there. So it's a lot of data to go back over a number of years to be able to get that all across. I don't want to lose it. I think it's a wonderful thing to have as a state to have that history. So it's just working with them. How do we go further back than say the last 5 years? What do we do with that? I think if that's everything, I will probably turn it off from here. And if anyone has any questions that